Hello everybody. This video is about my initial impression about the Dali Sonik 5, which I got it like a couple of days back. This is a new speaker from Dali, and I'm just sharing my initial impression. So I'm very new to the hi-fi world. I'm not an audiophile by any means, so please don't you know get confused or you know the ideas that I'm sharing is from just from somebody who is very new to the hi-fi world. I just set up my first two-way system. I've got Imran's PM 7000N paired to these speakers, and I've been listening to them for the past 2 days. They are the initial impression is they are really good. I know Dali recommends like 100 hours of break in time. I'm not sure if I've listened to these speakers like 5 hours or 10 hours in the last two days. So there is still a lot of time that I need to use these speakers to get the most out of it. But the initial, as it is out of the box, the speaker is amazing. I've already shared some sound clips. Please do watch them. But I need to let you know, I just, recorded those videos using my iPhone. So it may not have the accurate quality or something, that you might be expecting. So apologies for that in advance. But if there is a lot of interest, I'll try to make it better over time. So I went to a couple of dealers, hi-fi stores. I'm based in the UK, so here some of these stores that are close to me are Richer Sounds and a few other shops. So I went into these shops to have a demo of these speakers, but most of them didn't have this speaker initially because they were into Dali didn't release these speakers at that time when I was looking for it. And finally, the dealers started getting these speakers. So I had a look at these speakers and I keep going to these shops wherever I go. So I popped into one of these shops on my way to some other place, and then they had these speakers come in. So they had it on display. So the speaker they had was the walnut finish, which is absolutely amazing. But unfortunately, it didn't go well with the other furnitures that I have got already at my place. So I went with the black. Although I mean I like black, but if you ask me, that is my preferred choice for these Dali Sonik 5 speakers. I would go with walnut. But anyway, I mean, like, and I'm not really worried or unhappy with this color, but I think it goes really well with the other furnitures that I've got at home, and it matches well. So I'm not worried. At the end of the day, it's all about the sound. So I'm really enjoying the sound coming from this speaker. I started looking at when I initially started, with this hobby. I was considering bookshelf speakers like the Bowers and Wilkins 606S3. Then a few other speakers. But why I got into this hobby is because I used to listen to music a lot. I play a lot of music on my AirPods. I mean, like AirPods Pro. I really enjoyed it, and back in the days, I used to have the hi-fi systems that comes with the Sony hi-fi systems, the small hi-fi systems. So I used to enjoy those musics very well. But then now then I got rid of that hobby. I moved into the music on phone, yeah, airports and all that. And I was listening to one of the videos on YouTube, and it was about the ELAC DB63 speaker. Then I was like, yeah, that looks nice. Or maybe I listened to some sound clips. I mean, they were amazing. So and then price wise, it was reasonable. I looked at the internet, and Peter Tyson was having an offer on those speaker, the Dali DB63. They were available for 250. So I then looked at getting a used amplifier. And then I started looking for these amps, speakers. Then you know what? There's tons of information available on the internet. There are lots of options. I mean, there is pairing. I mean, like what amp do you need to pair with? What speaker? What sort of sound signature you like? I mean, it was like an ocean of information that is there, and um, then I was like, it's interesting. So I started listening to most of the people that has got experience in this area. But then I also realized some of the people who gives the review on these YouTube, they are paid. So they promote most of the things. So I realized that I can't just blindly go with some of these reviewers. So I decided to listen to the speakers and get a feel of what I like, then choose a speaker which I can afford and I will enjoy, and the sort of sound signature that the speaker is producing. So I went to Richer Sounds and asked for a demo. Yeah, the initial demo that I had with the Richer Sound was for Bowes and Wilkins 606 S3 and the Klipsch RM 600 M2. The Klipsch is a really good speaker, to be honest. I like it, but it wasn't giving me enough bass or the depth that I was looking for. The clarity wise, it's really good for the right music. So then I listened to the Bowes and Wilkins. They are also good, but a bit too bright for my taste. But excellent speaker for the size. Um, I couldn't make a decision on that day. Then uh, I went back home. I started researching again. Then I went to another Richard Sound and had another demo. And again, that was BMW 606 S3 because I really like that speaker. And they also demoed a couple of other speakers like the Monitor Audio Silver 100, the Wharfdale 5.1, and the Wharfdale 5.1, and there was one more speaker that they tried to demo, but I was mostly focusing on the BMW 606 S3. They are comparatively small, but they make good sound. I mean, clear sound, but the bass was not really great. I really like the details and the clarity of that speaker, but from a bass perspective, for my taste, I would need to buy a subwoofer from what I learned. But the Wharfdale 5.1 that they demoed, they sounded bigger and fuller compared to the 606S3. Yeah, and then even I couldn't make the decision on that day as well. Then I came back and I started looking at the Wharfdale, and they have got so many choices like the 5.2. It's a three-way speaker. So I was like, I always wanted to get a three-way speaker because there is separation for the mid-range, because one of the areas that I like is mid-range, sweet and smooth highs, and detailed and deeper bass. So I looked at 5.2, and then I was also considering 5.3. Until that time, I wasn't even considering anything floor standard. So when I started looking at 5.2, the Wharfdale 5.2, I realized that it need to be at a certain height, or any bookshelf for that matter. It can't be kept low. It need to be at a certain height that when you are where you need to consider how you listen to your music, where you sit, and what is the level of the speaker when you are sitting and where it is placed. So it matters. So I realized that. So a stand is inevitable for a bookshelf speaker based on the room that I got. So I don't have any shelf that I can place these speakers on. So I need to get a stand. I can't avoid it. So then I was like, okay, if I put a stand, I have to buy the stand. Again, that's another expense. And even if I put it on a stand, it's going to take as much space or maybe a little lesser than the floor stander. So it's going to occupy similar amount of space anyway. So why not consider a floor stander? So then my focus shift to these floor standers again. So I started looking for a floor stander. In the meantime, I also learned about Dali. So there were some comparison videos on YouTube, which compares the Bowers and Wilkins with the Dali speakers, the Dali Oberon 3 or something like that, Opticon 2, some those speakers. Then I heard about this brand. Then I understand like they produce high-end speakers like which is like 80,000 pounds or something like that, $100,000. So I then realized like there are speakers that cost that much or even more. So I wasn't aware of all of these things, and I was like, I'm just a beginner. So these are all news to me, or something I'm learning. So Dali, the brand, came to me. I mean, like, I just realized about that brand, and the initial impression was I wasn't really sold on Dali, so I wasn't even considering Dali at that stage. As I kept researching and I kept comparing, this Dali name keep coming every now and then. Then I started listening a few more Dali sound clips. Then I felt like the sound signature of Dali is what is actually what I was looking for. And I started researching more about Dali, their technologies, their patented technology, the SMC magnet, the fiber cone, the wood fiber cone that they use, the materials that they use, their history. And I was like, okay, they sounded clear, and they're not very bright. They're not very very detailed. I mean, detail is a good thing, but to me, I think in a nutshell, I like the sound of Dali. So I started looking at Dali. I was looking at the size of the speakers that I need to go for. So I don't need to buy a stand. I can't afford to have a bigger floor stander. So I thought I researched a bit and realized that Dali has got these Oberon 5, which is the smallest floor stander they make, and it's kind of fits in within the size of the room that I've got and the space I got. So I was thinking of buying Oberon 5. Started listening to Oberon 5 sound clips. I used my headset, and then the comparison. I don't know how many times I used to listen to these speakers over the internet. Then I went to the Richer Sounds to have a look at it. I asked the people about their opinion. Everybody who is in this hi-fi world was recommending Dali. I'm not sure why, but but most of the shops that I went in, whenever I talk about them, this Dali came out every time, and people were even recommending Dali over Bowers and Wilkins, and the opinion about Bowers and Wilkins was that they used to be really good, but then the 600 series is not really what the money is, what they say. I mean, it's better to go to their higher end speaker system, but not 600 is not really the value for money speakers that they consider, and when it compares to brands like Dali. So I didn't take their words just like that. I mean, even after listening to the 6S3, I really like that speaker. Don't get me wrong, but the thing is, if I buy that speaker, I then need to buy a subwoofer. I then need to buy a stand. So I decided not to go with Bowers and Wilkins. So I was thinking about Oberon. Then I realized Dali is coming up with a new series called Sonic. At that time, I didn't know that it was going to replace Oberon. Then I got to know that it's a new Oberon. So then I looked at it, and then I realized that they were releasing these speakers in February 2026. So I think it is an improvement over the Oberon, which is already a very good and popular speaker. So I thought, like, this is the right time for me to buy the Sonics, because obviously it is going to be an improvement over the Oberon, and Oberon is already a popular speaker, the Oberon 5s. But when I was considering the Dali speaker, especially the Sonic, I was looking at Sonic 7, then Sonic 5, because, like I said in the beginning, I wanted something like three-way or 2.5-way. I was thinking like the splitting of frequencies will benefit me. So then I went to Richer Sounds again. I just walked in to one of their stores just to have a look at these speakers, and luckily they had Sonic 7 and 5 there. The guys were really helpful, and they were kind enough to let me listen to these speakers. I mean, although I didn't book a demo, they had somebody booked in for a demo on that same day for the Dalek 7s, and the Dalek 7 was already inside the demo room. So I was there before that demo, so they let me listen to the Dalek 7 for some time before the demo. And then they even got in the Dali 5s inside the demo room, so I could listen to both of those speakers, back and forth. So Dali 7 is really good speaker. I was impressed with Dali 7. I listened to Dali 7 more on that day, and then the Richard Sound guys, they managed to get the Dali 5s in. And when they got the 5s in, it sounded as good as 7. I was like amazed to feel that experience, because I was thinking that like 7, obviously it is more expensive, bigger, and the technology wise it was different. But on that day, on that the speakers that I listened to, I felt I'm talking about Dalek Sonic 5 sounded as good as Sonic 7, at least to my ears. It could be, I don't know how many hours they have, running that speakers. I don't know. Maybe they are fairly new. It could be that, or it could be the music that I listen to, or it could be the sound settings that they had over there. But I didn't find a day and night difference between those two speakers, at least to my simple layman's ear. it didn't sound that different. Maybe for somebody who is more experienced or who can understand a bit more can make out that difference. So, so I decided that's the right speaker. I mean, the Sonic 5s are much suited for me as a beginner, and also considering the space I've got at home. I don't want to have a speaker that look substantial. I mean, if I have got a bigger space, I will be more than happy to have Sonic 7. I think if some of you are considering Sonic speakers, and if you got the space, maybe it's worth going for Sonic 7 because they got the hybrid tweeter, where they split the frequencies between the soft dome and the AMT tweeter. So maybe there is much more clarity to be had from a vocal perspective or a high frequency perspective. But as a beginner and as a music, as a normal or a normal person who enjoys music, I think Sonic 5 meets my requirement, and it's a good speaker. And the way I was amazed by the speaker is the amount of bass it produces. You'll be surprised to listen to these speakers, and it kind of, you know, vibrates your, your other furnitures inside your room if you just sort of get it up to the halfway volume. I mean, I don't want to disturb my neighbors, so I didn't put it in a volume that is. I mean, the speakers can go very loud. I mean, very loud. It can shake your house. It is that good in terms of its bass, and its sound is amazing. Even if you go higher, it gets better. But I listen to very moderate sort of volume, and the amount of bass it produces even at the low volume is really amazing. I know some of you have commented that I keep the speakers very close to the wall, and to be honest, I'm fine with that. Because I play it at low volume, I'm not having that very boomy sort of effect at the moment. I don't feel it. I feel a very clean, deep bass, and it is not even taking much space of my room. I mean, maybe over a period of time when I break in these speakers, I may have to pull the speakers a bit forward. Maybe it get maybe when the speaker drivers get looser, it makes a bit more bass, and then I may have to move the speakers a bit more, or maybe I have to get a bass pot. There is a sponge. What is it called? I forgot the name. So I can then put that in, and it will. I can still keep the speakers closer to the wall, because at the end of the day, I mean, these speakers need to go with it need to look, you know, and it go well with the furnitures that I've got it at home. I don't want it to look out of place. So I have to, enjoy it, not just from a music perspective, and also from the way it blends with the other furnitures that I've got it at home as well. But overall, what I'm trying to say is, yeah, please do go to some of the shops that they offer demos. Try to book in a demo. Listen to these speakers. Don't go with anyone's opinion, including mine. Just listen to these speakers. Like, you can book it in a demo. You can be there for a very long time. I mean, some of the dealers offers that. I mean, mostly Richer Sounds, and they are very friendly people. And then you can decide what speaker you want to go with. One other speaker that I was considering was Fine Audio F501E. I heard some sound clips, and I don't know, surprisingly, there's very limited reviews or videos available. about that speaker. And I think if I would have listened to it, maybe uh, if I liked it, maybe I would have gone with that speaker. But to get access to that speaker and to experience that speaker is, at least to me, I find it difficult. So I decided to go with the Dali Sonic 5, which, to be honest, I'm very impressed until now. I know there is still a lot of time that I need to use this speaker so that uh, it will go through its break-in time, and after that, I could I could feel a bit of a difference. I mean, when I started listening to this speaker, I thought, like, initially when I just take it out of the box and put it in, I used the tone control of my amplifier, which is the Marantz BM7000N. I put I pumped up the bass. As I keep listening, I have to then reduce the bass to, like, almost in the neutral position. So I need to, at some point, uh, bypass the tone control, because it is not required for the speaker, because it is improving. I think the bass, everything is, as I listen, I can feel it is improving over time. So I will keep posting some videos as I keep listening and enjoying these speakers. If any of one of you are planning to buy these speakers, and if you got the sort of taste that I have in terms of the sound signature, I'm sure you're gonna enjoy these speakers for sure. Um, yeah, I wish you all have great listening to the music that you heard there, and have a great day. Thank you.